The Great Tractor Robbery. So driver threw a note to the signalman, I whistled at the car, and firemen shouted, "Police!" We lost the thieves after that, but the police soon caught them, and the fat controller congratulated me, finished Thomas. Mavis was astounded. I heard the quarrymen talk about something called the Great Train Robbery, but I didn't think we'd have thieves of our own on the branch line. Farmer Finney had a produce stand set up at the station. Terence sat close by, having just delivered fresh fruit and vegetables. He'd heard everything. "You engines and your adventures," he chuckled. "It's all too much for an old tractor like me." "Puh!" sniffed Thomas. "You just chug across your field all day. Don't you fancy a little excitement every now and then?" "I caught the new farmhand stealing produce the other day," Terence replied, "and that's about as much excitement as I want. Not that you'll hear me bragging about it," he winked. Thomas seethed, but Mavis was curious. "What happened to the farmhand?" she asked. "Farmer Finney gave him the sack," Terence replied. "And rightfully so. I work hard to get that produce delivered on time. I won't let some thief get the better of me." "Well, there you have it, Thomas," smirked Mavis. "At least Terence actually caught his thief." Both Diesel and Tractor laughed as Thomas fumed out of the station. That night, Terence was tucked into his shed at the farm. "Another good day's work behind us, Terence," smiled Farmer Finney. "And now we both deserve a good night's rest." He shut the shed doors, and Terence drifted peacefully to sleep. He woke suddenly. It was several hours later, and still dark out. He felt a cool breeze blowing in. His shed door was ajar. Suddenly, he felt his engine turn over and roar into life. He looked back. The thieving farmhand was at his controls. "Stop!" called Terence. "Not a chance," grunted the man. "Get me fired, will ya? I'll show you and that wretched farmer a thing or two." Terence jerked forward, bumping the shed doors on his way out. "Ouch!" he cried. "Help! Help!" No one heard him, and the kidnapped tractor drove on into the night. "You won't get away with this," Terence growled. "Oh," replied the thief, "I think I will. It'll be hard for that old coot Finney to make money if his tractor and his stand are in ruins, won't it?" "We'll see about that," muttered Terence. As they approached the station, Terence could see Thomas leaving with his mail train. Suddenly, he had an idea. He revved his old engine hard. It coughed and spluttered smoke. Terence made it cough again. That did the trick. Thomas's driver stopped the train and looked back. "What on earth?" he cried. "Look out, Terence!" peeped Thomas. The thief, realizing he'd been spotted, jumped from the controls and disappeared into the night. Thomas's crew ran as fast as they could, but crash! Terence lay dazed amongst the remnants of the produce stand. Smoke billowed from his engine, and splintered wood was caught in his caterpillar tracks. "Bother!" he sighed. Soon, the police arrived on the scene. It wasn't long before the thief had been caught and brought into custody. Farmer Finney was not pleased at being woken up, and even less pleased with the state of his stand. "You know," said Thomas's driver, "I've got some spare lumber at my house." "Me too," added the fireman. "Why, we could have a new stand built for you in no time." "Perhaps Toby could lend you Elsie," added Thomas. She's been sitting in the carriage shed for ages. I'm sure she could be your temporary produce stand."
"Oh, bless you all," smiled Farmer Finney. "You're too kind. I only wish it were that easy to fix poor Terence."
"Adventure certainly does seem to be too much for old tractors like you, eh, Terence?" chuckled Thomas. "Never mind. Once the Fat Controller hears of your ordeal, he'll have you fixed in no time." Thomas was right. Terence was soon being mended at the works. When he returned, the new produce stand was finished, and Farmer Finney was busier than ever. Terence was glad to be back in service, but he avoided the subject of adventures for quite some time.